A UK government amendment to renegotiate the so-called Irish backstop in the divorce deal with the European Union has changed little, according to a European politics professor and Brexit analyst Anand Menon. Menon said that British Prime Minister Theresa May will seek changes to the backstop from Brussels, but European Union leaders have stressed the issue will not be reopened.
Well, Parliament's voted on a series of amendments. It was an attempt to try and forge a way forward in Brexit, and what's happened is that two amendments have passed. One is an amendment that basically says Parliament doesn't like the idea of no deal, but it has no legal force, so no deal is still the default. The other is an amendment that says the Prime Minister has to go back to Brussels and try and negotiate the so-called Irish backstop. Now, the EU has said it won't negotiate the backstop, so in one sense we are no further forward than we were before these votes happened. The next step, therefore, given the Brady Amendment, is the Prime Minister has to talk to Brussels and try and renegotiate the backstop. Most people, myself included, seem to think that the backstop won't be renegotiated because the EU have said very publicly, and they've repeated it again this evening, that it will not be reopened. So a second best is she tries to negotiate some sort of exchange of letters with the EU, an interpretive declaration that reassures people about the backstop without changing its meaning. The problem is, given that this amendment passed, it's far from clear she can secure a majority for any deal that has the backstop in as it is now. There is a case you could make that Europe is saying we won't renegotiate, this is the deal, take it or leave it, but that's what Europe would say, isn't it? I think the Prime Minister's calculation, initially at least, was if I can get close to passing my deal, then I can go back to Europe and say, look, give me some tweaks, we can get this through. This, however, is different. Europe has said quite clearly it will not remove the backstop. This amendment says we need an alternative to the backstop. So I don't see how the Prime Minister gets the concessions that the amendment calls for. The only hope for her is that this time around she goes back and tries again and manages to convince enough of her MPs that she tried her best, couldn't get it, and the choice now is either no Brexit, no deal, or this deal.
The border measure in the withdrawal agreement, known as the backstop, would keep the United Kingdom in a customs union with the European Union, in order to remove the need for checks along the frontier between the UK's Northern Ireland and European Union member Ireland after Britain leaves the European Union. An ETV Bharat report.